Talking about potential superhero movies for the future is always fun. It was fun for part 1, and now today on Top 10 Nerd, we're talking about part 2 of the top 10 forgotten heroes who deserve their own movie. I'm Adam Andrews, and let's jump in. Number 10, Savage Dragon. The Savage Dragon is one of Image Comics' most popular and long-lasting characters, and he has been around since his debut as just Dragon in Graphic Fantasy #1 in June of 1982. Basically, the Savage Dragon woke up butt naked and with no memory in a burning field. He was a giant green, quote, man with a big fin on the top of his head and super ripped, like pretty much all heroes are. Now, what we didn't know at the time was that he was actually an alien conqueror named Kerr, who originally came to Earth to conquer it, but was betrayed by 2 scientists. He was an enhanced member of the alien race called the Krillin, and his enhanced Krillin physiology gave him superhuman strength, agility, and stamina, healing abilities, and telepathic resistances. Now, one of my favorite parts about this hero is that instead of joining a superhero team and being a typical hero, the Dragon actually wound up being a member of the Chicago Police Department and helped them with their, quote, super freak problem. I think it's cool to kind of ground the character like that, and I think it would make a great movie. I don't know. Number 9, Animal Man. Thanks to an encounter with some rather strange aliens, which actually happened to be a ruse by the totems of the Parliament of Limbs, Bernard Buddy Baker gained access to the morphogenic field, otherwise known as the Red. This field basically allows Buddy to absorb and use different attributes of nearby animals while still being a human. So he has been able to move his eyes independently like a chameleon, he's been able to ram against a speeding car with the abilities of a rhino, he can fly by tapping into the abilities of birds, he's regenerated a whole lost limb by tapping into an earthworm, he's gained the strength to lift a car by tapping into a spider, and he's ran at 75 miles per hour by adopting the abilities of an ant. The character of Animal Man explores profound philosophical themes, including environmentalism, animal rights, and the interconnectedness of all living beings. His stories, particularly Grant Morrison's run on the character, were actually surprisingly really dark. I don't know if that could really be adapted to be a normal old superhero movie for a family-friendly DCU, but it could make an interesting standalone film maybe. All I know is the character deserves more recognition, and a movie would do that. Number 8, Captain Britain. There is actually a whole Captain Britain corps made up of all versions of Captain Britain from across the Omniverse, but for this point, we are specifically going to cover Earth 616's protector, Dr. Brian Braddock. Brian Braddock brings a distinctive blend of British charm, valor, and honor, presenting a fresh and unique superhero persona. His origin story, involving the mystical Amulet of Right and the wizard or entity of Merlin and the parallel dimension of Otherworld, kind of gives us a fresh and fantastical backdrop, allowing for pretty good visuals and epic battles if it were adapted to the screen. Captain Britain's powers, granted by the Amulet of Right, grant him superhuman strength, agility, and the ability to fly, which is nothing really new, but that's not really what would draw people in anyways. The character of Brian Braddock is complex and relatable, grappling with the responsibilities of wielding immense power while maintaining his own sense of identity. A Captain Britain movie would not only showcase his crazy adventures, but also delve into themes of duty, identity, and personal growth, and then, due to the multiversal nature of his conflicts, it would slot really well into the MCU and would make for a fun watch just in general. Number 7, Sunfire. Shiro Yoshida, otherwise known as Sunfire, is the premier superhero of Japan in Marvel Comics. He is also an alpha-level mutant who possesses the power to manipulate solar radiation. This power allows Sunfire to fly, produce plasma blasts, plasma shields, and generate plasma temperatures of around 1 million degrees Fahrenheit. His powers are pretty similar to those of Johnny Storm, interestingly enough, but Shiro Yoshida is fiercely patriotic, usually choosing to fight for his country over most other teams, and while historically he has normally been a villain, he has been a part of the X-Men and does ultimately do what's best for whoever he is representing. The character's origin and early days had a lot to do with disdain for America specifically, which is kind of fair considering his mother was a survivor of Hiroshima. Shiro is an awesome character who just doesn't get enough time in the light in my opinion, and also having a Japanese hero would help open up a bit more representation in the MCU, which is always welcome. Number 6. Hawkgirl. A movie centered around DC Comics' Hawkgirl might seem like a weird choice, but I think it would be an excellent addition to the superhero film genre for several reasons. First and foremost, Hawkgirl brings a unique and captivating mythology, drawing from an ancient Egyptian lore and reincarnation themes. Her backstory as a former Egyptian princess and a warrior who reincarnates throughout time adds a lot of depth and complexity to the character, making her a fascinating protagonist to explore. Hawkgirl possesses an array of incredible abilities though as well, including enhanced strength, flight, obviously, and mastery of advanced weaponry. These powers, combined with her warrior spirit and strong leadership qualities, make her a pretty powerful and inspiring figure. Now of course this is all similar to Hawkman, and he has most of these abilities as well, but Hawkgirl is just cooler, I'm sorry. A Hawkgirl movie would offer the opportunity to delve into complex interpersonal dynamics, particularly her relationship with Hawkman, an eternal love across lifetimes which would provide a compelling emotional anchor for the film. Lastly, as a member of the Justice League, Hawkgirl's inclusion would also open up the door to expanding the DC Extended Universe. A Hawkgirl, or maybe even a Hawkgirl and Hawkman movie, would just be super cool. I think we can all agree. Number 5. Captain Atom. Nathaniel Atom was transformed into Captain Atom in the 60s after being semi-forced to participate in a potentially fatal experiment sitting at ground zero of a nuclear explosion encased in an alien metal. Now the explosion didn't kill him. What it did do was bond the alien metal to his flesh, giving him superpowers and throwing him 20 or so years forward into the present day. The alien metal gave him incredible abilities such as flight, matter manipulation, energy manipulation, time manipulation, energy absorption, telepathy, spatial manipulation, quantum manipulation, force field creation, time travel, magic, and mind manipulation, and control of the quantum field. These powers have let him perform some insane feats like creating a universe within the quantum field and later destroying that universe, fighting Superboy Prime, easily defeating a team composed of multiple versions of himself, and before absorbing them and creating an explosion powerful enough to destroy a universal space-time continuum. Now, I think a lot of that is a bit massive for a single superhero film, but I find this character extremely interesting, and I think maybe a space-focused movie about this character would do pretty well if it was handled with a bit more of a serious tone, and I could see it having some mind-blowing visuals. Number 4. Sentry. Robert Reynolds was an addict and a broken man who was granted the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns after illegally partaking in the Golden Sentry Serum, which was an offshoot of the original Super Soldier Serum, except like 100,000 times more powerful. He has photokinetic-based powers fueled by the sun itself that include molecular manipulation, immortality, insane super strength, speed, invulnerability, stamina, agility, reflexes, and senses, flight, teleportation, energy absorption and blast, psionic abilities, and more. Now he used this power for the greater good of all and put together a costume to make his debut as the Sentry. He was the example of what a hero should be. He had connections to Iron Man, was active during the years just prior to the Fantastic Four's emergence. He became a role model for Spider-Man as well as an ally to the X-Men, an equal to Reed Richards, and a friend to the Hulk. He is one of the world's greatest superheroes until the Void arrived. The Void nearly took out Sentry's sidekick Scout. It drove the Hulk into a rampage and took the lives of over 1,000,000 people in Manhattan. When Reynolds realized that the Void was his own dark persona, he enlisted Doctor Strange and Reed Richards, and together they wiped the memory of Sentry from everyone in the world, including themselves. That origin story in the comics, plus his awesome internal struggle with his dark persona, would honestly make for a pretty awesome superhero movie. I'm just saying. Number 3. Wildcats. Wildcats centered around the centuries-long war between aliens called Cherubim and Daemonites. Cherubims, a nearly immortal human-looking alien race with exceptional powers and skills, traveled to Earth and by breeding with humans, populated the planet with half-breeds. Daemonites, on the other hand, besides being incredibly scary to look at, also possess various superhuman abilities, including body possession and mental control over human beings. Now, this movie wouldn't really be a single superhero-focused film. It would be more of an ensemble thing, which hasn't had the best track record in film format. format. Movies like the first Suicide Squad did not go over well and were hurt by an ensemble. Eternals also hurt from having an ensemble, but I thought it was kind of okay. The second Suicide Squad movie worked out pretty alright though, and I think if handled correctly, the Wildcats could make for a pretty good film and boost up the team for unfamiliar readers in a similar way to something like Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 2, Jack of Hearts. Jack Hart was the son of a brilliant scientist. A scientist that created the ridiculously efficient liquid sci-fi fuel called Zero Fluid. In his tragic comic book backstory, Jack was exposed to this fluid and it gave him his awesome but difficult to control abilities. Importantly, he was also part alien with his mother hailing from the Contraxian race, so that's a whole other thing to this as well. Now, due to the cellular mutation that took place after his Zero Fluid exposure, Jonathan Hart is now able to produce pink concussive energy beams and blasts from his hands and body, taking up the incredibly clever name of Jack of Hearts, apparently in honor of his father's love of card games and not because that's his name, basically. Jack of Hearts can use his Zero Energy Blast to fly at speeds currently not specifically known, but he has flown halfway across the United States in 3 minutes flat, so it's pretty fast. His biological structure was reformatted to basically give him the superhuman starter pack of abilities, but his strength has been able to lift 25 tons. He has enhanced speed, stamina, healing factor, and durability, able to withstand some pretty heavy hits and survive in the vacuum of space. But in addition, thanks to a quote symbiote energy sump device, Jack went through another mutation which gave him the ability to think as fast as a computer can, and he can retain and retrieve stored information from the deep recesses of his brain, which is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. Given the nature of his stories and the way the MCU is opening up to space and the multiverse, I think it would be doable to introduce this character, although he has been difficult to write stories for in the past, so I think it would need some reworking. And finally, in at number 1, it's the Silver Surfer. Now, I know the character has been featured in the second Fantastic Four movie back in the day, and he was cool and all, but his story specifically focused on Norrin Radd and Galactus properly? Come on. As a herald of Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds, the Silver Surfer's journey from being an unwilling servant to a cosmic hero, saving entire worlds from destruction, is filled with existential themes and moral dilemmas. The movie could explore the character's profound introspection and inner conflict as he grapples with the weight of his past and the choices he must make to protect his universe. The cosmic scope of Silver Surfer's adventures would allow for awesome space exploration, celestial battles, and mind-bending visuals. Plus, his encounters with other heroes like the Fantastic Four, Thor, and Nova could make exciting crossover potential within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A Silver Surfer movie would not only offer thrilling action and epic cosmic conflicts, but also delve into deep philosophical themes and open up the cosmic side of the MCU just a touch more. And that's all I got. Agree or disagree with any of our choices? Well, you can let me know down in the comments below. For now though, this is Top 10 Nerd, I'm Adam Andrews, I'll catch you nerds on the flippy flop. Peace out, nerds.